hundreds of unnamed tributaries and streams feed 23 rivers that soak a drainage area of around 17,000 square kilometers. Water from here makes its way to Lake Hunka and its marshes. Strong winds whip across the wide lake basin, stirring up waves. Gulls feel right at home. As waves hit the western edge, they surge over the sandbanks. Lagoons are formed and soon tracks appear. After a storm, Chinese turtles move in to check it out. When the lagoon formed, it trapped thousands of small fish. Bad news for the fish. For everyone else, it's a bonanza. With such an abundance of fish, the turtle can afford to be choosy. It only eats the head with its energy-rich brain. But the fish have more to worry about than just brain-sucking turtles. They must also beware of the voracious snakehead fish. These predators aren't trapped in the lagoon. They can breathe air, so a shrinking water pool is like an all-you-can-eat buffet. The shallows are full of small, gasping fish, but the snakehead misses its strike. But no problem. The air breather can easily wriggle back to the water. After eating their fill, the turtles return to the safety of deeper waters for the night. Although adults have few predators here, they instinctively seek safety. On the south coast, the land changes again. 230 kilometers away, the bays of the Rimsky-Korsakov archipelago look like the Mediterranean. Pines form the last stand of Russian forest as cliffs dive into the sea. The warm Tsushima current, coming from the Sea of Japan, creates one of Russia's best-kept secrets. It resembles a tropical underwater world. Life-giving waters are comparable to the Gulf Stream. Kelp and seagrass create miniature forests. Here, both predators and prey hide in plain sight. In this world, camouflage is key. The color-changing octopus is reigning champ of hide and seek. But this laid-back octopus's garden hides a vicious paradise. Here, stones are alive and dangerous. No one tangles with a Japanese fugu fish. They carry one of the deadliest toxins in the animal kingdom. Japanese chefs serve these pufferfish, but only after 2 years of training and a rigorous exam in rendering them harmless. Less venomous predators join gangs. Pacific starfish rip open mussels and suck out their meat. Soft corals gracefully receive the leftovers. Hermit crabs hunt under a protective shell, while day and night bizarre sea cucumbers hoover the depths. Back at the Lake Hunker lagoons, the early morning brings out the dawn patrol. A raccoon dog sniffing out a meal on the sandbanks. Chinese soft-shelled turtles lay eggs up to 5 times a year, depositing as many as 30 in one go. There may be thousands out here, if only you could find them. Unlike other dogs, they are not fast hunters. Instead, their sense of smell turns them into relentless scavengers. He has a strong nose, but poor eyesight, so he is easily spooked. But eventually, the effort pays off. He must rely on finding smaller food items, so spends hours foraging. The lake holds the largest breeding population in the Russian Far East. The hatchlings, lucky enough to survive flooding and predation, make a mad dash to the water. For these coin-sized turtles, life is one peril after another. Just reaching the shore is a challenge. The shallows offer relative safety, except their relatives are cannibals. Some young hide along the shoreline, others float like leaves. Then they head for cover in the lotus beds. Weighing just a few grams, they tuck into algae and spend time sunbathing like the adults. But predators lurk in the lotus beds too. Snakehead fish come to prowl. The turtle, enjoying his own feast, remains oblivious to the danger. Score 1 for the turtle, 0 for the snakehead. As summer ends, Lake Hunker marks the occasion with a most spectacular and beautiful display. Mayflies have spent up to a year living on the lake bed eating algae as nymphs. Now they transform. For 20 minutes before and after sunset, winged adults start to rise from the lake to breed. Thousands, then millions. In the space of just 24 hours, they mate on the wing, drop eggs on the surface, and then die. They don't even stop to eat, but become a feast for others. Then all will be quiet until next year's fleeting moment of glory. The brief autumn starts to roll into Asuriland. Back in the wooded hills of the great Sihotaline forest, the trees turn to gold. Time is short for the animals. They must find food and shelter before the snows arrive. Rare musk deer make the most of the remaining leaves before they are buried under a white blanket. The males display short tusks rather than showy antlers. The young Asiatic black bears are experiencing their first leafy autumn. But there's no sign of their mother. Poaching orphans around 20 bears in Asuriland every year. Normally, they would stay with her for 2 or 3 years. Without her guidance, their first winter might be their last. At least they've fattened up over the summer. Cubs increase weight tenfold in the first 3 months, vital to survive winter. Right now, they'd rather play. Many hibernate for the whole winter, some only during the worst periods. They build dens on the ground with brushwood and foliage. At least one of them shows the right idea. But his brother seems clueless. He'd better wise up soon because he's running out of time. Winter is fast approaching, and with no cozy den to retire to, his chances are slim. At the lake, the lotus fields are dead. The frigid waters will serve as cold storage for 7 months as winter throws an icy blanket across it. Frost has already put reeds into preservation. Nimble parrotbills hunt for insects hidden inside the stems. They'll sustain the birds through the lean months. Come November, winter arrives full throttle. Forest waterways transform into glassy sheets of ice. Underneath, life gently winds down. Small fish will survive if the water holds enough oxygen. Some frogs and toads divert blood to the skin, pulling oxygen from the water. Their heart rate slows and can even stop as the temperature drops. Those that haven't developed in time miss their chance. Winter's harsh hand reaches the coast last. The ice slowly builds around its edges. Harlequin ducks will endure the long winter here. Meantime, they bob around like corks in the breakers and dive beneath the strong currents where shrimp, snails and fish flourish. They can stay under for up to 25 seconds at a time. Densely packed feathers trap an insulating layer of air to protect them from the cold. The duck's neighbors, the lager seals, aren't quite so energetic. These 2-meter-long, blubber-clad torpedoes have no complaints about the coming winter. Except the ice disturbs sunbathing and makes getting out of the water more tricky. They spend much of winter in the water, and when that begins to freeze, they lounge around on the ice floes. They can make fishing trips hundreds of kilometers long before returning to the coast to rest. Soon enough, snow arrives in all its fury, and time itself seems to freeze. But not for everything. A young Indian marten celebrates his first snow with childlike delight. Another of Assyrian's rare animals, as their name suggests, Indian martens are found across India and Asia. When the novelty wears off, deep winter may come as a shock. Usuriland was once the secret Russia where few people went, preserved and protected by its remoteness. But as in so many places, man's encroachment has left its mark. Tigers have suffered years of persecution, with 7% of the population poached in a year. The future does not look good. Logging has brought more people here, impacting on the region's wildlife. The world's largest cat still rules these woods, but the end of his reign may be in sight. It is possible to find Amur tigers in the wild. But with small breeding numbers, a life expectancy of only 10 years, and a shrinking domain, the tiger's future looks bleak. Before long, the only way to see the King of Russia may be in protected areas like these. In the Sikhote-Alin forest, one little river runs unfrozen and undisturbed. Its snowy banks keep a record of recent events. As the sun goes down, a proud parent watches from the riverbank. The owl chick has come of age. It may stay in its parents' territory for 2 years, honing its survival skills. Tonight, it's taking on the first challenge: fishing. After weeks watching its parents from the nest, it's ready to go it alone. The first dip in the icy waters. As it enjoys the prize, the parrot shows how easy it is with a little more practice. The fledgling will become a master soon enough. The secret primeval forests of Sikhote-Alin are a last stand for some of the Earth's rarest animals. The rivers and wetlands of the Amur Basin hold stories of nature's triumph and near tragedy. In this strange and unknown part of Russia, there is much to be preserved. The epic wilderness known as Ussuriland.